I saw comments a couple of days ago, and I wanted to make a video on this topic anyways, so I'm gonna read this guy's comments, the YouTuber Yamete. His name's written in hiragana. I'm gonna read his comment and then I'm gonna use it to bridge into what I want to talk about today. So he basically asks, my problem is when you Google shit, when you go on Amazon to try and find a book, when you go to a bookstore, misdirection always exists. Usually the things I want to find are hidden under layers of bullshit. More and more information is being censored, while books filled with lies are being promoted. Is shifting through bullshit to find true answers a part of finding the truth? Do I have to go to alt tech websites and or secondhand stores in order to buy the information that I'm seeking? So I'm gonna shift pictures, away from this comment, just so it doesn't seem like I'm using this comment to bash him or anything. But a lot of people that have been born and raised in this new era of information, they got this misconception that all the information that you'll ever need to learn and find is on the internet. At one point in time, that may have been true. When the internet first started getting popular, people posted all kinds of information that would be extremely hard, if not borderline impossible, for regular people to find out. So, because the internet was once this proficient, people still have this mentality that if you ever want to learn something, all you have to do is Google it. Unfortunately, as that guy pointed out, that before you can even get to the truth, the immediate cover is bullshit. And even credible sources will still have a lot of disinformation and bullshit, with the truth being in the middle and it being something that you have to weed through in order to find. Now, this is done for a myriad of reasons, okay? Sometimes it's not intentional deception. Now, I uploaded a video called "Why You Always Have to Seek the Truth on Your Own," because I talk about the difference between intentional deception and people deceiving you because they themselves don't know the truth. Something you guys have to understand is that the absolute raw truth 100% can no longer be put on the internet. If you tell the absolute raw truth about something important in 2021 and beyond, it immediately gets taken down and something could possibly happen to you. There was a podcast I used to follow, and the guy made YouTube videos, the guy had his own podcast. The dude really knew what he was talking about, and he went in detail. He had like 2-3 hour long podcasts where he would really break it down. And then one day I go back to rewatch an old episode and all of his shit from the internet vanished. His podcast was completely taken down. He had a Facebook that got hijacked, and he basically went MIA from his YouTube channel. Now his friend that still makes videos, people were asking him, hey, what happened to this guy? What happened to this guy? And the guy wouldn't give any direct answers. He would say stuff like, do you know telekinesis? Basically, imagine that you're talking to the guy. And I knew how to read between the lines. Essentially, his friend disappeared. He knows why his friend disappeared, and he doesn't want to tell you. And you have to have the ability to detect the truth from lies if you want to actually learn the truth fully. See, people that know information, they can't just put the truth out there entirely by itself, okay? Otherwise, it immediately gets taken down. On YouTube especially, the guy would have videos that he would post that would only get like 5 to 10 views, but within an hour it would be taken down just because of what he was saying in the videos. This is why videos that tell you absolute bullshit have millions upon millions of views, whereas the videos that actually tell you the truth, they don't get any views at all. And it's done like that intentionally. Now, again, the people that make those videos, they understand that they can't put the absolute truth out there entirely. Otherwise, their shit gets removed. People like me, we guide people to the direction of the truth, but we don't say anything in the videos that could actually get our shit taken down. And, we're the people that understand the game, so to speak. Now, people that either don't understand the game, or, that think they know what the fuck they're talking about, but have no idea what they're talking about, these people are not intentionally deceiving you. These are people that really believe that what they're saying is right. And they really believe that because my videos and my blogs and shit are getting millions of views, it must be the truth. Otherwise, why are people watching? These are people that really believe they're doing the right thing, not realizing they're just a blind leading the blind. Okay? And something I want to explain is that what is popular is not what is true. What is popular is what is easiest to accept. What is easiest to accept is the path of least resistance and things that'll make you feel better. These are things that won't actually offer you a solution to your problems, nor will these be things that will actually help you find the truth in the long run. If you want to be able to find the truth in the long run, then an ability you have to acquire is the ability to detect truth from lies. Now, people say that I over-focus on what is true and what is false, that, I shouldn't block people just because I catch them in a lie because lying is natural. Lying is not natural. There is a reason why little kids are the most savage people on planet Earth, okay? Because a little kid doesn't yet know deception. If you're an unattractive person, for example, a little kid might say that you're ugly, or might say that you're fat, or, might say that you're a weirdo, because little kids are brutally honest. It's not until their parents teach them deception by telling the child that, hey, you can't just tell people how you honestly feel because it'll hurt their feelings. It's only after a child learns deception that they start to lie. Okay? It's only after a child learns how to live unnaturally that they start to live unnaturally. If lying was a natural thing, then people that have a conscience wouldn't feel bad about lying in the first place. Now, we're not talking psychopaths and narcissists, we're talking about regular people. Regular people feel guilt, and they feel a certain type of way when they know that they're telling a lie. This is why a lot of times when people lie, they first convince themselves that the lie is true. So, the books that Yamete was referencing that are filled with bullshit, the Google articles that just tell you lies, something you have to understand is, again, a lot of times it's not intentional deception. Religion, for example. It's not like the people that... I made a whole video talking about why the root word of belief is lie. But understand something. 95% of religious people that regurgitate the lie, they're not intending to deceive you. They really believe, again, root word of belief, lie. They really believe that they're telling you the truth. They really believe that they're leading you into the right direction. This is how the whole system works, okay? It's not... See, people that make the system, they simply make the system. But the system itself has to be reinforced and continued by most people in order to keep it alive. And the reason the system continues is because most people believe the lie. This is why if you want to see the truth, if you want to see the holes through the system, if you want to find the back door, so to speak, you have to develop the ability to detect the truth from lies. Because when you develop that ability, it then becomes easy for you to see, oh, this contradicts, so it's impossible for it to be true. Okay? And I have a video on my channel called How to Detect a Lie, and I'll link these in the description if I remember to below. So, the first half of the video I wanted to explain that the main reason when you look for any information you're going to see deception at first is because A lot of people perpetuate the illusion because they believe the illusion is true. They have no idea how wrong they are because they really believe that they're telling you the truth. So they're deceiving you unintentionally. And then the people that understand the game, they understand that they can't just tell you the truth directly or their shit's gonna get removed and something may happen to them. You know, people like me. People ask all the time, why don't you give specific details? Why don't you give evidence of the things that you say, even though I do. I do give evidence, but why don't you go more in detail and really go in depth and really break it down? Guys, the video I made where I explained that the root word of belief is lie, that video was pushing it. That's probably the most that somebody can do without actually getting themselves in trouble. They're giving you the tools in order to decipher the code yourself, but they can't actually tell you what the code means. Otherwise, you know, they just won't have a channel. So you got the people that unintentionally deceive because they believe they're telling the truth. You got the people that try to help you find the truth because they know they can't just give it to you. And then you got the people that intentionally deceive, right? So all of these factors are things that work against you. This is why you have to develop the ability to find the truth on your own. And let's talk about my next point. In life, you will meet people that know the truth. Understand this. I covered this down in my Why You Shouldn't Blindly Trust Certified Professionals playlist. Because what a lot of people don't understand is that people that know the information, people that have the knowledge, they're not just going to share it to you for no reason, right? Some of these people will intentionally deceive you and lead you in the wrong direction for one reason or the other. Albert Pike explains this in his book Morals and Dogma. If sheep come to us for free lunch, then they deserve to be deceived. Okay? Now, an obvious example of this, you know, in some of my videos I use some pictures that have an obvious meaning. But in order to see the obvious meaning, you already have to have knowledge yourself to be able to tell what the pictures mean. Now, there's nothing on the internet that's easy to find that directly tells you what some of these pictures mean. You have to gather the knowledge separately and then combine it together on your own in order to put two and two together. Now, I know people watching this video were probably looking for me to tell them an easy path, an easy cheat code that they can use in order to always find a solution to all the problems that they'll have living in this illusion, but there is no easy way, okay? Because how do you be able to detect the truth from lies in the first place, right? I break this down in many videos. First, you have to be honest with yourself, okay? For most people, this is already impossible to do. Most people feel guilty when they lie to another human being. So in order to destroy that guilt, what they first do is they lie to themselves, okay? They lie to themselves before they lie to everybody else, because if they believe their own lies and then they tell you the lie that they've convinced themselves to believe, then there's no longer any guilt, okay? Very few people can just lie to you and not feel any type of guilt or remorse about it. Those are the people we usually refer to as psychopaths. But not all psychopaths are malicious. This is another common misconception. You know, again, remember, what is popular is not what is true. What is popular is what is easy to accept, right? And what is easy to accept is that all psychopaths are malicious, evil people. Psychopathy is simply a mental condition that you're born with, but just because someone is a psychopath doesn't automatically make them malicious. You have psychopaths that have the ability to lie to your face and feel no remorse about it, but you have psychopaths that are still brutally honest with people, and you can usually find these guys behind the scenes, so to speak. You never really find an honest psychopath at the forefront of things, for example. It's just one of those things. Like, things that are abnormal and that stand out, you have to look for those things yourself. The truth is abnormal, and the truth doesn't stick out like a sore thumb unless you're able to see it hidden through all the bullshit. You have to develop the skills in order to find the truth on your own, and then you have to seek the truth, and only then will it become easy for it to stand out. But getting to there in the first place, first you have to be honest with yourself. How can you spot the truth if you can't even spot the truth within yourself? Okay? Being honest and truthful with yourself about all your flaws and all your weaknesses, and then trying... Because in order to fix a weakness, you first have to acknowledge that you have a weakness, right? In order to find the truth, you first have to admit that you don't know the truth. Again, I cover this in many videos. Most people don't want to admit that they don't know what they're talking about due to ego, pride, feelings, and narcissism, but this is an unavoidable first step, okay? How are you going to learn about physics if you can't even be honest with yourself and admit that you don't even know what science is, okay? Knowing what science is the basics, okay? Knowing the concept of science, the origins of science, and then knowing what it is to dabble in science. You know, once you learn and understand the basic concept, then you can get into more advanced stuff like, oh, what is physics? Physics is a specific field of science that covers this. Or what is astronomy? That's another field of science that covers it. So you have to know the basics first, okay? I've been rewatching Naruto, and in part 1 Naruto, he gets offended because Kakashi basically tells him, listen bro, you gotta go back and learn the basics, otherwise you can't grow as a ninja. And, you know, it is what it is. I know this video is taking a while to get to the point, but I'm really trying to hammer this in, okay? It is only after you develop the ability to detect truth from lies, it's only after that the truth comes out and slaps you in the face, so to speak. Because once you're able to be honest with yourself, you're then able to detect, oh, this is an obvious lie. It becomes much easier to detect lies because now you're applying the golden rule. If it contradicts, it is not true. And once you're able to eliminate the lies, you can then spot the truth that's hidden beneath the lies. You can then take the small truths you gather and combine them together to see the much bigger truth. Now, depending on how quickly a person does this first step, depending on how quickly a person can start being brutally honest with themselves, the quicker they do this, the quicker they can start to be honest with other people. And the quicker they can do this, the quicker they can start to be honest with detecting lies from the sources that they're looking into, right? Some sources are better than others, but almost all of them, the truth is going to be hidden and coded. Like the picture I'm using for this video, for example. I could just tell people what this picture means, but it wouldn't do them any good, because in order to understand what the picture means, like I said with the physics example, you first have to learn the basics, right? If you don't learn the basics, the rest of it will never make sense. So, hopefully, the people that are watching this video will toss their pride and ego aside. They'll understand, if they're still looking for answers, they'll understand that they first need to admit that they don't know the answers, and after admitting the truth to themselves, then they can proceed to the next step. Then after they can be honest with other people, then they can move on to the next step. Then after they're able to detect the lies from the sources that they use for research, then they can go to the next step. It's a 5-step process, right? But getting to the 5th step is impossible for most, because even getting past the 1st step is impossible to most. When I was making video game videos, And hell, even the videos I'm making right now, you'll have people that have no idea about the subjects that I'm talking about in the video. They won't even have layman's knowledge, but they'll say, oh, I disagree because it doesn't feel right. Well, how you feel doesn't matter. The truth is absolute. The truth doesn't need your permission to be true, nor does it need your belief in it to exist. So, you can find some truth in most sources, okay? Because truth never truly goes away. You can try to hide the truth, you can try to silence the truth, but the truth always comes out in time. So, earlier Yamete was asking, you know, is the ability to detect truth from lies mandatory for shifting through the bullshit? Yes, because you're almost never just going to find the raw truth on its own. So when you're using your Google, when you're buying your books, when you're interviewing people, when you're looking through the different sources, almost all of them are going to have bullshit in them. But the reason this ability is so important is because once you're able to detect the truth from lies, and once you're able to detect the truth from lies and you can get those small pieces of the truth, and then once you're able to combine them for the bigger picture, you get to the point where certain things become second nature to you, where certain things become obvious to you, and when you're doing further research, you can automatically, naturally discard the disinformation and only see the real information for what it is, even if it may be very tiny for that source. So, the path of high resistance, never give up trying to find the truth. Depending on the type of person you are, it may come to you sooner than later or later than sooner. Again, most people will never make it past the first step, total honesty with themselves, but it is a mandatory step. Until you conquer that step, the rest of the process becomes complicated. So that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Those that get it will continue to get it. Those that don't get it probably never will. Peace.